All right, let's get real. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to thrive on testing your boundaries? They interrupt you mid-sentence, throw in passive-aggressive comments, or act as if your time and feelings are merely optional accessories in their own grand narrative. It often feels as if you're expected to simply smile and let it all slide without a word of protest. But not today. If you're exhausted from putting up with people who don't respect you, if you're tired of feeling diminished or overlooked, then this is for you. Today, I want to share some brutally honest and perhaps a bit controversial ways to handle disrespect without losing your cool and without sacrificing your self-respect. By the time you finish reading these thoughts, you'll be armed with every tool you need to show people exactly where your boundaries lie and that you refuse to tolerate any behavior that undermines your worth. Sometimes, the most effective response isn't a barrage of words, but a profound silence, a calm, unwavering look that says everything without uttering a single syllable. Consider the technique of the silent stare, a favorite method of mine that might seem a little savage at first, but trust me on this. When someone is blatantly rude or disrespectful, nothing throws them off more than a long, calm, and completely unbothered stare. You see, people who habitually disrespect others are often seeking a reaction. They want you to stutter, become flustered, or snap back at them so that they can drag you into their personal drama and make you question your self-worth. Yet, when you hold a steady, silent stare, you flip the power dynamic entirely. It might sound passive-aggressive at first, but there is something undeniably unsettling about not providing the expected reaction. In that quiet moment, when your eyes lock with theirs and you refuse to engage, you're saying, without words, "I'm not playing your game." It is a subtle, yet profound reclaiming of control, an assertion that you are not available to be manipulated. I recall a specific instance during a group meeting when one person, overly confident and insistent on his own importance, constantly talked over me. Despite my polite attempts to interject, he persisted until I decided to simply fix him with a silent, unyielding gaze. I leaned back in my chair, folded my arms, and maintained that unwavering stare for a full 5 seconds. No words were exchanged, yet you could practically feel the tension in the room shift. One by one, the others began to notice, their eyes following his, until he finally faltered. He stumbled over his words, his previously unwavering demeanor collapsing into uncertainty. From that moment on, not only did he refrain from interrupting me, but his overall attitude softened, as if he finally recognized that I was not someone to be trifled with. In that silent moment, you communicated more powerfully than any retort could have, establishing boundaries without a single word. This technique goes beyond mere power play. It serves as a potent reminder that you owe no one an emotional reaction and that your self-worth is non-negotiable. There is a deeper significance in embracing silence as your answer. In a world where we are conditioned to always respond, to fill every pause with chatter or justification, choosing silence can feel revolutionary. It is not an act of passivity, but rather a deliberate decision to conserve your energy for matters that truly deserve it. When someone directs negativity your way, their goal is to ensnare you in their web of drama, to force you into a defensive stance that only drains you further. Yet, when you choose not to engage, you take control of the conversation. Your silence becomes a mirror reflecting back their own behavior, forcing them to confront the absence of the reaction they so desperately sought. In that moment, you communicate that you value your peace and that you refuse to be baited into a cycle of negativity. I remember a time when a particularly sharp-tongued colleague would hide his insults behind what he called jokes. Every time he made a snide remark about my work, I felt an inner tug, an impulse to defend myself. But one day, I decided instead to simply pause, raise an eyebrow, and offer no reply. The silence that followed was thick and potent, a reminder that his words, no matter how cutting, were not worth your energy. He was left standing there, unsure of how to proceed. his usual barbs rendered ineffective by your refusal to participate in his game. Learning to embrace silence took time. For many of us, the instinct is to explain ourselves, to justify every decision and defend every action. We feel an internal pressure to prove that our choices are valid, that our feelings are justified. Yet, what we often fail to recognize is that by explaining ourselves, we inadvertently give away our power. Every time we feel compelled to justify our decisions, we signal that perhaps we are not fully confident in them. We start second-guessing ourselves, and that uncertainty can be exploited by those who wish to undermine us. Instead, when you choose silence, you are making a bold statement. Your choices are your own, and you do not owe anyone an explanation. I've been there, caught in the habit of elaborating on every minor decision, feeling as if I had to convince others that my way was the right way. Over time, I discovered that the less I explained, the more confident I felt. My silence wasn't a lack of communication. It was a profound declaration that I was secure enough in my own skin that I didn't need to justify every step I took. It was as if I was reclaiming a part of myself that had been lost to the constant need for external validation. Another powerful aspect of maintaining your integrity is learning to keep your distance from those who persistently show you disrespect. It's a harsh truth that not everyone in your life is deserving of your time or emotional investment. Sometimes, the best response is not a confrontation at all, but rather a deliberate decision to create space between yourself and those who drain your energy. This isn't about holding grudges or harboring ill will. It's about self-preservation. Imagine your life as an exclusive space, like a limited access club where only those who truly respect you are allowed in. If someone continuously crosses your boundaries, makes you feel small, or projects negativity onto you, then it's perfectly acceptable to limit their presence in your life. I remember a time when I was close with a friend who, over the years, began to make increasingly snide remarks about every decision I made, from my career moves to my personal tastes. At first, I tried to brush it off, convincing myself that this was just their way of being humorous or that I was overreacting. But as the frequency and severity of the comments grew, I began to feel more and more anxious whenever we were together. The constant barrage of criticism was draining my energy and chipping away at my self-esteem. Eventually, I made the difficult choice to see this person less frequently. At first, the decision was met with guilt and self-doubt, as if I was betraying the idea of loyalty. But with time, I realized that by keeping my distance, I was actually affirming my own self-worth. I was telling the world that I deserved better, that I wouldn't allow someone to dictate the terms of my self-respect. In doing so, I created space in my life for relationships that truly nurtured and supported me. It's important to understand that distancing yourself from toxic individuals is not an act of selfishness. It is a necessary step toward self-care. When you remove those who constantly disrespect you from your immediate circle, you create a safe haven for your thoughts and emotions, a space where you can nurture your inner peace without interference. In that safe space, you begin to see more clearly who you are and what you truly deserve. The act of keeping your distance is not about punishing others, but about affirming your own value and protecting your emotional well-being. I recall another situation where a coworker, whose constant need for control and validation left everyone feeling undervalued, finally met his match when I began to limit our interactions. Instead of being his usual sounding board for his complaints and criticisms, I chose to focus on my own work and well-being. Over time, he seemed to notice that his usual tactics no longer had the same effect on me. The space I created not only shielded me from his negativity, but also allowed me to invest more energy in projects and relationships that truly mattered. One of the most liberating aspects of this approach is learning to hold your head high, both literally and metaphorically. There is something immensely empowering about walking through life with your head held high, shoulders back, and a steadfast gaze that conveys unshakable confidence. This posture, whether physical or mental, is a direct assertion of your self-worth. It communicates to the world that you are aware of your own value, that you refuse to let anyone's negative energy bring you down. I used to be someone who would shrink away from criticism, slumping in my seat and avoiding eye contact whenever I sensed disapproval or disdain. It wasn't until I consciously decided to change my approach that I began to notice a transformation. When I started to hold my head high, even in the face of relentless criticism, I noticed a remarkable shift, not only in how others treated me, but in how I felt about myself. Every time I maintained that upright posture, I was affirming my own worth. I was telling myself, and anyone watching, that I was in control of my own destiny, and that I would not allow anyone to dictate the terms of my self-respect. This change in physical demeanor had a profound impact on my mental state. Standing tall became a silent protest against the notion that I was somehow lesser or unworthy. Instead, it was a declaration that my self-worth was inherent, not something that needed to be earned through the approval of others. I recall a particularly memorable encounter with an acquaintance known for his caustic remarks and condescending tone. In the past, his words would have left me questioning my own value. But on that day, something shifted inside me. I walked into the room with my shoulders back and my gaze steady, meeting his dismissive smile with a calm, resolute look. The change in my demeanor was palpable. It was as if an invisible shield had been raised around me. His usual barrage of insults seemed to bounce off that shield, leaving him momentarily speechless and off balance. In that moment, I realized that holding my head high wasn't just about appearing confident. It was about truly believing in my own worth, about internalizing the idea that I did not need anyone's validation to feel complete. This newfound confidence brought with it a sense of liberation. No longer did I feel compelled to defend every decision I made or to justify my choices to those who were quick to judge. I recognized that every explanation I offered was a concession, a small surrender of the power I held within me. Instead of spending energy on elaborate defenses, I embraced a simplicity that was both refreshing and empowering. I began to answer questions with a succinct because I wanted to, allowing my silence to speak volumes about my conviction. This wasn't about being dismissive or rude. It was about reclaiming the narrative of my life and asserting that my choices were mine alone. In a world that often demands endless justifications for even the simplest decisions, learning to stop explaining yourself is nothing short of revolutionary. It is an act of self-affirmation that signals to both yourself and others that you are comfortable in your own skin, that your decisions are made from a place of confidence and not from a need for external approval. Over time, this practice of embracing silence, keeping your distance, and holding your head high began to weave itself into every aspect of my life. I started noticing subtle changes in the way people treated me. The casual disrespect, the offhand comments, and the attempts to undermine my confidence gradually diminished as I began to set firmer boundaries. I found that when I projected an aura of unyielding self-respect, even those who had once taken my presence for granted started to adjust their behavior. They began to see me not as an easy target for their jabs, but as a person with a quiet strength that did not require constant validation. In many ways, this transformation was less about changing others and more about transforming myself. By prioritizing my own well-being and refusing to let negativity dictate my actions, I was able to cultivate a sense of inner peace that radiated outward, influencing not only my interactions, but also my overall outlook on life. Of course, adopting these strategies is not without its challenges. It takes a great deal of self-discipline and a willingness to face the discomfort that comes with breaking long-held habits. For many, the default response in the face of disrespect is to engage, to explain, to defend, or even to retaliate. These reactions are so deeply ingrained that it can feel almost counterintuitive to simply stand silent or step back. There are moments when the temptation to respond is overwhelming, when every fiber of your being urges you to fight back against the injustice of being dismissed or belittled. In those moments, it is crucial to remember that every reaction you offer is a choice that can either feed into the cycle of negativity or break it. By choosing to remain silent, by refusing to provide the fuel for someone else's anger or self-importance, you are taking a stand that is far more powerful than any argument or retort. You are saying that your inner peace is not negotiable, that your self-worth is not subject to the whims of others. This realization is both empowering and liberating, for it places the control firmly back in your own hands. It is also important to acknowledge that these methods are not about completely isolating yourself from confrontation or avoiding difficult discussions. There is a significant difference between choosing silence as a strategic response to unwarranted disrespect and avoiding healthy, constructive dialogue when it is necessary. What I advocate for here is a measured response that preserves your energy and reinforces your self-respect. It is about discerning when a response is truly warranted and when silence is the most effective reply. In many cases, the silence you offer is not an admission of weakness, but a clear indication of strength, a demonstration that you are so secure in who you are that you do not feel compelled to defend your choices against every critic. In this way, silence becomes a form of communication in its own right, one that speaks of inner strength and unshakable confidence. As you begin to internalize these ideas, you may find that they extend beyond individual interactions and begin to influence your overall approach to life. Every time you choose not to explain yourself unnecessarily, every moment you decide to keep a respectful distance from those who persist in disrespecting you, and every instance when you hold your head high in defiance of negativity, you are reinforcing a powerful message. You are in charge of your own life. You are the one who decides which energies to welcome and which to deflect. And in doing so, you cultivate a life that is rich in self-respect, inner peace, and personal empowerment. This transformation is gradual, often punctuated by moments of doubt and vulnerability. There will be times when you find yourself questioning whether you are being too harsh on those around you, or whether your silence might be misinterpreted as indifference. These moments are natural and are part of the process of reclaiming your emotional autonomy. It is crucial during these times to remind yourself that self-respect sometimes requires difficult decisions. You are not responsible for tempering the insecurities of others, nor are you obligated to provide a constant stream of reassurance about your choices. Instead, focus on the benefits that come with living authentically, on the profound sense of relief that arises when you stop wasting energy on the need to explain or justify every decision you make. Embracing these strategies is not about fostering conflict. It is about nurturing an environment where your true self can flourish without being constantly undermined by the judgments or expectations of others. In moments when you feel particularly vulnerable, when the weight of others' opinions threatens to overwhelm you, remember that the power of silence, the strength in distance, and the dignity of holding your head high are not mere tactics. They are reflections of your inner truth. There is a profound liberation in understanding that your value is inherent, independent of anyone else's validation. This realization, once fully embraced, transforms the way you interact with the world. You begin to navigate relationships with a newfound sense of clarity and purpose, recognizing that the energy you spend on those who fail to respect you is energy that could be better invested in nurturing your own growth and well-being. Over time, you will notice that your life becomes more aligned with your values and aspirations, and that the people who truly matter are drawn to this authenticity. I encourage you to experiment with these approaches in your everyday interactions. Next time you encounter someone who dismisses your opinions or tries to belittle your achievements, try pausing and offering that unyielding, silent gaze. Notice the effect it has not only on the other person, but on your own sense of self. Allow the silence to fill the space where words would have been wasted on defending your worth. And when the urge to explain yourself surfaces, resist it. Remember that your choices are your own, and that you do not owe anyone a detailed account of your inner life. Instead, let your quiet confidence speak for itself. Over time, you will find that this practice not only shields you from unwarranted criticism, but also attracts people who value you for who you truly are. Their respect, when earned, will be genuine and grounded in an understanding of your authentic self, rather than a superficial acknowledgement of your ability to explain away every detail of your life. The journey to embracing silence, setting boundaries, and holding your head high is one of continuous learning and growth. It requires constant vigilance and a commitment to self-care that may sometimes feel at odds with the demands of everyday life. But every step you take in this direction is a testament to your strength and a celebration of your individuality. It is a reminder that you are the master of your own destiny, and that your inner peace is too precious to be compromised by the fleeting judgments of those who lack the courage to respect you. In the end, the choices you make in these moments of disrespect define not only how others see you, but, more importantly, how you see yourself. When you choose silence over needless explanation, distance over toxic interaction, and confidence over self-doubt, you create a life that is unmistakably your own. A life in which your worth is measured not by the opinions of others, but by the quiet, unyielding conviction that you are enough, simply because you are you. This is not merely advice for handling disrespect. It is a blueprint for living with integrity, for nurturing your inner strength, and for forging a path that honors your true self. The power to transform your interactions lies within you, and it starts with a simple decision to refuse to accept anything less than the respect you deserve. As you move forward, keep in mind that each encounter, each moment of silence, and each act of self-preservation is a building block in the foundation of a life lived authentically. There will be days when the effort to maintain these boundaries feels overwhelming, when the pull to revert to old habits of over-explaining and self-doubt seems almost irresistible. But in those moments, remind yourself that every instance of choosing silence, every decision to step back from negativity, and every time you hold your head high, you are reinforcing your inner fortress. It is a fortress built not from isolation, but from the deep and abiding understanding that your self-worth is not determined by the fleeting opinions of others. It is built on the solid rock of self-respect, self-reliance, and the unwavering belief that you deserve to live a life free from the constraints of unwanted judgments. In this continuous journey of self-discovery and empowerment, you may find that the techniques you employ evolve over time. What begins as a deliberate act of defiance may eventually transform into a natural state of being. You might reach a point where silence comes as effortlessly as breathing, where maintaining your distance and holding your head high become as intrinsic to you as the beat of your heart. And in that state of being, you will have achieved something truly remarkable. A life where your inner peace is impenetrable, a life where your value is unquestioned, and a life where you stand firmly in the knowledge that the only opinion that truly matters is your own. There is an undeniable beauty in the realization that you do not need to conform to the expectations of a world that is too often driven by the need for validation and approval. Instead, you have the freedom to define your own terms, to set your own boundaries, and to live your life according to the principles that resonate with your soul. In doing so, you not only elevate yourself, but you also set an example for those around you, an example that challenges the conventional norms of behavior and encourages others to seek their own inner strength. The ripple effect of such a transformation can be profound, inspiring those who witness your quiet rebellion to examine their own lives and to question whether they too are living authentically. Every act of silence, every moment of restraint, every time you choose self-respect over a need to appease, you contribute to a narrative that redefines what it means to be strong. It is a narrative that rejects the notion that power is measured by the volume of your voice or the force of your arguments. Instead, it champions the idea that true power lies in the calm certainty of knowing your own worth, in the quiet assurance that comes from living in alignment with your values. This is the kind of power that cannot be taken away, a power that radiates from within and transforms every interaction into an opportunity to affirm your dignity. It is a power that, once fully embraced, becomes the guiding force in every decision you make and every relationship you cultivate. Ultimately, you have the choice to either allow the opinions of others to dictate your sense of self or to take back control and define your own path. The techniques I've shared, whether it's the silent stare that disarms the aggressor, the deliberate embrace of silence that denies negativity its due attention, the refusal to over-explain your choices, the careful distancing from those who drain your energy, or simply holding your head high in defiance of disrespect, all serve as reminders that you are the author of your own story. The journey may be challenging, and there will undoubtedly be moments of doubt and discomfort, but each step you take is a victory for your self-respect and personal freedom. So as you navigate the complexities of relationships and the inevitable encounters with those who fail to recognize your worth, remember that the most important validation comes from within. It is your ability to stand firm in your beliefs, to remain unyielding in the face of criticism, and to hold your head high even when the world around you seems intent on knocking you down, that ultimately defines who you are. Embrace the quiet strength of your silence. Let it resonate through every fiber of your being, and allow it to serve as a beacon for all those who might be struggling to find their own voice. Your journey to self-respect is a testament to your inner resilience and a celebration of the fact that no matter what others may say or do, you are, and always will be, worthy of the respect you so richly deserve. In the end, living with integrity means accepting that you are not here to appease the insecurities of others or to justify your existence to a world that often misunderstands you. It means understanding that every moment of silence, every act of distancing, and every time you choose to simply hold your head high, you are writing a chapter of your life that is bold, unapologetic, and authentically yours. It is a life where respect is not something you seek from others, but something you cultivate from within. A life where your self-worth is an unassailable truth that remains constant regardless of external opinions. And in this truth, you will find a freedom that is both liberating and profoundly empowering. There is power in choosing not to engage with the negativity of others, a power that is built on the foundation of self-awareness, discipline, and an unwavering commitment to honor your own needs above all else. As you continue to practice these strategies, you will notice a shift in the dynamics of your relationships. Those who once thrived on eliciting a reaction from you will gradually lose their influence, while those who genuinely care for you will come to understand and respect the boundaries you have so courageously set. This is not about creating walls around yourself. It's about constructing a safe space where your true self can flourish without interference, where your inner light remains undimmed by the shadows of doubt and disrespect. Every day presents a new opportunity to practice this art of silent defiance, to let your actions speak louder than any words could. With each silent stare that leaves an aggressor momentarily speechless, with every instance where you choose to preserve your energy rather than justify your choices, you are not only affirming your own value, but also paving the way for a more respectful and mindful way of interacting with the world. It is a continuous process of self-discovery and empowerment, one that requires patience, resilience, and above all, a deep and abiding love for yourself. Remember that the journey to self-respect is as unique as you are. There will be ups and downs, moments of triumph, and instances of self-doubt. But in every challenge lies the opportunity to learn, to grow, and to become ever more in tune with the powerful truth that you are the master of your own destiny. The techniques you choose to adopt, Be it the silent stare, the embrace of silence, the refusal to over-explain, the strategic distancing from toxic influences, or the simple act of holding your head high, are all tools that, when wielded with intention, enable you to live a life defined not by the opinions of others, but by the unwavering certainty of your own worth. So, take these lessons to heart and let them guide you as you navigate the intricacies of everyday life. Stand firm in your belief that you deserve respect, and that your inner peace is too valuable to be compromised by the fleeting judgments of those around you. Each day, let your actions be a testament to the strength that lies within, and let your silence, your distance, and your confident posture serve as a reminder that you are enough, simply because you are you. As you move forward, may you find solace in the knowledge that your journey towards self-respect is not only a personal victory, but also an inspiration to others. Your ability to live authentically and to reject the demands for validation from a judgmental world can spark a quiet revolution in the hearts of those who witness your transformation. With every step you take, you build a life that is richer, deeper, and more aligned with your true self. A life where the only permission you seek is the one granted by your own inner wisdom. And so, in the midst of a world that constantly tries to undermine your confidence and question your worth, remember that you have the power to set your own rules. You have the power to let silence speak for you, to keep your distance from those who would drag you into negativity, and to stand tall with your head held high. In doing so, you affirm a truth that is as timeless as it is profound, that your self-respect is not something that can be negotiated, diminished, or taken away by anyone else. Take these words with you as a reminder of your strength, and let them encourage you to act with deliberate purpose every time you face disrespect. Let your silence be a declaration, your distance a shield, and your confident bearing a beacon of hope for all those who may be struggling to find their own voice. Ultimately, by living in a way that honors your true self, you create a ripple effect that transforms not only your life, but also the lives of those around you. It is in this space of authenticity and self-respect that you will find the freedom to thrive, to shine, and to embrace the incredible potential that lies within you. In every interaction, whether quiet or charged with conflict, may you always remember that the power to define your worth resides solely within you. And as you continue to grow, learn, and forge your own path, may you do so with the unwavering belief that you deserve nothing less than the respect, peace, and fulfillment that come from living a life that is authentically, unapologetically your own.